Peace be still, everyone. This is Tosha, and you are tuning into the Supernova Tosha podcast, the show that addresses social issues and how it affects our community. So today, I'm not sure if you all heard, this is an older story, but I still want to talk about it. It happened back in May of 2025. It was the Ohio man charged with murder after the Sons police shooting. Um, what began as a routine stolen vehicle report quickly escalated into a real life altering tragedy for one Ohio family and soon after for law enforcement community as well. On the afternoon of May 1st, Cincinnati police officers were dispatched to investigate a report of a stolen Kia allegedly connected to a group of teenagers, including 18-year-old Ryan Hinton. Okay, so according to police, Ryan fled from officers during the stop, and body camera footage and preliminary reports from the Cincinnati Police Department claim that Ryan allegedly brandished a firearm while he was running away. Officers then fatally striking Ryan during the pursuit. The incident left his family devastated and immediately raised questions among community members. So that's the one I wanted to talk to you all about. Let's see. There we go. Some kind of a technical thing. Oh, what is happening here? Bear with me just a moment. All right. Oh, okay. All right. So, not sure what was going on. I'm getting all these pop-ups, which I never got, but we're back in business. All right. So, um, conflicting narratives. Okay, so while police maintain that Ryan posed a threat by pointing a gun at officers, some community members and online sources began to question the circumstances of the vehicle's status. Rumors began to circulate that the vehicle may not have been stolen in the traditional sense, but rather that it was reported stolen by a dealership due to missed payments. So just to elaborate on that is that sometimes when you are financing a car, right? What happens is if you miss some payments like a month, 2 months, or what have you, the dealership will then report that the car is stolen. And if they report the car stolen, then, you know, that happens. So at the time of, this podcast, law enforcement has not confirmed that version of events, and official records still categorize the vehicle as stolen. So that's one thing I wanted to see if I can get some confirmation, but there's no reports that are coming out saying that he didn't steal the vehicle. It's just that he was financing and missed payments, and so that the dealership had in fact reported the vehicle as stolen. But anyway, Ryan's shooting sparked immediate concern among family members and local activists, some of whom called for transparency in the investigation and for the full release of body camera footage. Now, the family was shown the footage in a private viewing on May 2nd, but they left before it concluded because they were, just so overcome with grief. Now, there's more that unfolds to this story. Now, just one day after that, after Ryan's death, another tragedy struck, one that would deepen the pain and then heighten this controversial topic. So Rodney Hinton Jr., which is Ryan's father, was arrested and charged with multiple felonies after allegedly driving his car into Deputy Larry Ryan Henderson Jr. He's 57. He was directing traffic near the University of Cincinnati campus during a graduation activities. So witnesses and surveillance footage suggest that the act was deliberate. Prosecutors allege that Rodney, distraught and emotional, shattered by his son's death, intentionally struck the deputy, who later had succumbed to his injuries. So Henderson was not the deputy who struck his son. Henderson, a decorated law enforcement officer with more than 37 years of service, was deeply respected by his colleagues and community. He had recently retired, but continued to serve as a special deputy in part-time capacity. And his death led to a massive outpouring of grief, including tributes from local and state officials. And the governor, Mike DeWine, ordered flags flown at half-mast in Henderson's honor. So basically, he was a retired officer, and he was just working a part-time duties as directing traffic during an event, and he was run over and succumbed to his injuries. Now, Rodney Hinton Jr. has been charged with aggravated murder and felonious assault. Aggravated murder, and felonious assault. Prosecutors are pursuing the death penalty, citing clear intent based on traffic camera footage and eyewitnesses' accounts. Hinton has pleaded not guilty, and his attorneys have signaled an intent to pursue an insanity defense, citing emotional and psychological distress following his son's killing. In a parallel move, Hinton's legal team has filed a $25 million federal civil rights lawsuit claiming that his rights were violated and that the police's use of force against his son was unjustified. The case is likely to become a high-profile battle over mental health, grief, police accountability, and the limitations of the criminal justice system. Okay, so we have back-to-back deaths of Orion Hinton and Deputy Henderson. Has left the Cincinnati area shaken and polarized. Many sympathize with Rodney's unimaginable loss, while others see the alleged attack on a peace officer as an unacceptable act of violence, regardless of the grief. This is a tragedy on top of tragedy, said one local pastor, and one family lost a son, another lost a husband and a father. The pain is immeasurable on all sides, which of course I definitely agree. Civil rights groups have demanded a thorough and independent investigation into Ryan's shooting, while law enforcement leaders have called for support and protection for officers under rising emotional and physical threats. What comes next? Well, Rodney Hinton Jr.'s criminal proceedings are ongoing, and his mental health will likely become a focal point in the courtroom. Meanwhile, the investigation into Ryan Hinton's death remains active, and any updates to the vehicle's status or the use of force protocol may shape public perception. So one thing is certain is that what began as a stolen vehicle report has cascaded into a case with statewide and perhaps national implication. As two families mourn and a community seeks answers, the justice system must now navigate one of its most delicate and emotionally charged challenges. And we've seen this not the same, but in police shootings, we see this too often. So because it's two deaths now, let's go ahead and watch this video that will give us some more details.
While the Diddy trial seems to be taking up everyone's attention, the trial of Rodney Hinton Jr. continues to gain added layers as the father who is charged with hitting a police deputy with his car the day after his son was killed in a police shooting. Headlines initially reported Hinton had filed a $25 million federal lawsuit claiming he was physically assaulted after police took him into custody on May 2nd. That lawsuit also states multiple officers were present for the hearing, which created an atmosphere of fear, surveillance, and intimidation. Now, if you remember earlier this week, a viral video would show Hinton would be accompanied by several white officers and one black officer. The black officer was celebrated on social media for not leaving Hinton in the custody of only white officers. Now, with more information, it's possible the Black officer knew what happened on May 2nd and wanted to prevent it from happening again. A portion of the new lawsuit reads, plaintiff was subjected to physical abuse and courtroom intimidation in violation of constitutional protections. Defendant's deliberate actions caused plaintiffs severe psychological trauma, public humiliation, and emotional damage. According to NBC News, Hinton is suing for unlawful imprisonment, alleging he was detained unlawfully without due process and without a valid conviction. In addition, conspiracy to deprive rights, intimidation, and excessive force, emotional distress, and breach of oath of office were also listed in the suit. Now, out of the $25 million Hinton is suing for, $5 million is for compensatory damages, while $20 million is for punitive damages. That same source reports the state, the Cincinnati Police Department, and the Hamilton County Sheriff are named as defendants in Hinton's new case. Earlier this week, Hinton pleaded not guilty on 2 counts of aggravated murder, 1 count of murder, and 2 counts of felony assault. Now, in a shocking turn of events, according to local Cincinnati news, while news of Hinton's lawsuit immediately hit the internet, it was later cleared up that the lawsuit was actually filed on Hinton's behalf, not by Hinton himself. His attorney, Clyde Bennett, would reveal a woman from Georgia named Antoinette Holloway filed the suit alleging Hinton's constitutional rights were violated by claiming to be his next friend, which is just a legal term used when you are associated with someone. Bennett would say, I don't know if that person is a friend. I don't know this person who filed a federal lawsuit. Mr. Hinton didn't file a lawsuit. He didn't file a lawsuit. Now, Holloway's lawsuit features several incorrect statements, including claiming Hinton is currently being held in pretrial detention at the Hamilton County Justice Center, when he's actually being held at the Claremont County Jail. Local news would ask why someone would file a lawsuit on behalf of Hinton, and local attorney Jason Philbaum responded, either some type of social justice warrior that's trying to make a statement or two, you're trying to get a piece of the pie. It would soon be discovered that Holloway filed 11 other federal lawsuits in Georgia over the last few years, with the state of Georgia, the city of Atlanta, DeKalb County Police, and the FBI being a few named. According to Cincinnati News, all but 2 cases were dismissed. The 2 that weren't are currently pending. The same source would say a judge called some of the lawsuits frivolous, implying that the case may not have legs. The local attorney would also speak to the news platform, informing them on the possible results of the case. He said, the judge on his or her own could dismiss the case because it's not a licensed attorney. It's also possible the judge could put an order on that says you need to have a licensed attorney to accept this case, or it's going to be dismissed. Or the third possibility is the sheriff's office is going to file a motion to dismiss, in which you're going to see one of those 2 actions come from the judge. Typically, defense attorneys in criminal cases don't want civil cases involved because it opens them up to discovery. So, what do you guys think about this new lawsuit filed on behalf of Rodney Hinton? Let us know in the comments below. And stay up.
All right, everybody. Welcome back. That was a rather difficult video to watch. And, I'm a fluff person. I love to look at the world through rose-colored glasses because I don't know, life is difficult. Life is lifing. Every year I pray to have just a wonderful year for us, for me, for my family, for my friends, just for the world, but I don't know what it is. I guess we're just born into sin, and life is just difficult. Whatever they ate in that forest, the tree of knowledge, and we have been cursed ever since. But life is lifing, and life is difficult from day to day. So we have to tackle some of these difficult subjects, and police shootings are just one of the subjects I really have a great disdain of discussing because, they'll say, oh, these people are thugs, but we don't know. We really don't know if he did have a firearm on him. All we know is what the officer said based upon the body cam, and then it was covered. So we never saw this person turn around. The victim, he didn't turn around. We didn't see that. We didn't see that, he was retaliating on officers. We weren't able to see any of it. So, the body cam, it is questionable. I have to say that I will admit that there's some questions to it. Um, but I know that if I was an officer, um, my daily task would be, I'm leaving my home to come back. So you really just don't know. I know they have a tough job. They have a difficult job, and I can see why some of them act the way that they do. I try to be really nice to officers. I don't get pulled over that much, but even if I see them, in the mall or, they're just. I remember I was at a store a couple of months back, like around March or so, and there was a sheriff's officer there guarding the store. It was like an outlet mall or something. And I just struck up a conversation with him and, just learned a lot of interesting things because he looked like he was bored and falling asleep. Um, so I just like to be nice to them because you never know what they're going through. And sometimes they just want to be like, there's a nice citizen, there goes a nice citizen. So this is the fluff part of my podcast for today. And so we're going to get back to the seriousness, but I wish I could just bring you fluff all day, happy news, in my little unicorn world, my little mermaid and unicorn world that I dream of at nights and wake up in the mornings, but that's really not what happens. So anyways, um, like I said, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So body cam footage shows that the officer shouting he's got a gun just before firing 4 or 5 rounds at Hinton, who was approximately about 10 feet away. And the gun recovered matching a firearm Hinton was posing with in phone photos. It was a semi-automatic, tan-colored extended magazine. So the autopsy and coroner's report, Dr. Lakshmi Semarko of Hamilton County coroner reported that 3 gunshot wounds. One, the left forearm, soft tissue only, left lateral chest below the armpit, fatal wound. Bullet shattered a rib, it pierced the heart, and then exited the chest. Right posterior lateral chest near the shoulder, soft tissue injury. She clarified none of the shots came from behind, all entered from the side. Based on wound trajectory and damage, it's possible 2 bullets caused 3 wounds. Some additional notes are that only 1 bullet fragment was recovered during the autopsy, found near the right chest. Ryan's manner of death is ruled as a homicide, which simply indicates death caused by another person, not a legal determination of murder. Toxicology tests show substances were present, but specifics await final lab results. And scheduled public press conference was abruptly canceled after a grand jury subpoena affected the coroner's ability to discuss further details publicly. Hinton's family, represented by the Cochrane firm, commissioned their own private autopsy. They report that discrepancies in official accounts and are actively seeking all related materials, including BWC footage and full autopsy report to reconcile differences. There's a civil lawsuit that is also pending. Following the prosecutor's decision, the family has announced plans for a wrongful death lawsuit, citing lack of transparency and procedural oversight. Community and civil rights response groups like the NAACP and the Urban League have criticized the prosecutor for bypassing a grand jury and have questioned whether the internal review suffices for accountability. And these are the next steps for the investigation. Step number 1. Completion of internal CPD review. The Cincinnati Police Homicide Unit is still compiling its full report, which will then be evaluated by the prosecutor's office. Step number 2, internal oversight follow-up. A critical incident review board and citizens complaint authority investigation will examine protocol adhering and training. Number 3, final autopsy and lab report. Once the full autopsy, including toxicology, is released and any grand jury restrictions lift, more forensic clarity is expected. And number 4, a civil litigation. The Hinton's family wrongful death suit may compel fuller disclosure of evidence and procedural records. All right. So, again, this is really something that has affected us. I just want to know if you can just engage with me, just opine with me, just let me know what are your thoughts. Because on one hand, you have people that are okay, so when you see the father in court and he's walking the line, he's walking this line, and there's nothing but officers lined up. What was the purpose of that? Was that intimidation? Were they doing too much? And so when he was being led out of the court, of course, in handcuffs, you can obviously see the bruising on his forehead. Folks are speculating that he was brutalized by the officers. We don't know. We don't know what's going on or what went on, what happened, or what transpired. And also, what was the purpose of having so many officers lining the corridor where he was walking? And then some people were saying that he was, being pretty obnoxious when he, was doing like this when he walked by. But I don't think he was, it was directed at the officers. I think it was directed to the people behind him behind the officers outside, because it was a glass case, and then there were people on the outside, and I believe they were his family members. And he kind of gave them that head nod because they were, basically saying to him that, we support you, we have your back, keep your head up, just words of encouragement, words of uplifting him. And obviously you can tell that he had a mental break. I'm not a psychologist, and I just imagine, your child was taken away from you such a brutal way. Again, we don't know if he brandished a firearm. We don't know if he retaliated against the officers. Just wish that during that time that the officers had not shielded the screen with his hands. And that way we could have a true recording of what took place. And I wish there were cameras too. Had there been cameras somewhere in the vicinity that could show us what actually took place. So it's pretty sad, and to know that there's two lives. Obviously, the father was distraught, and then this officer who 57, pretty young to retire from the force, but I get it. I think two jobs I would never do: being an officer and be a teacher. Very tough jobs. Just dealing with the public, dealing with people and different personalities is just it's taxing on the mental, on the mind. So I commend those who do it. So I've been on the force for however many years, and then he's retired, thinking I'm just going to enjoy my retirement years, and then I'm going to freelance. And what a great job to do this event. But unfortunately, his life was taken away, and yeah, it's pretty sad. So just let me know. Just drop your opinion down below and let me think. I'm not going to be argumentative. I'm not going to defend anyone. I'm just here to report and start conversations and see what can we do. What is it that we can do to help our young kids in case he actually was joyriding from a stolen car with um, his crew. Back in my day, we said his posse. Um, I'm showing my age, but with his posse, with his crew, joyriding. And I remember in high school there were many there were many classmates. I didn't. They weren't my colleagues. I just knew them in passing. I may have one or two classes with them, but they hung out in the neighborhood. I knew who they were. I knew their parents. Um, I knew, who lived at this house and who lived at that house. Um, and that a lot of times that's what they did. They would just steal people's cars and they would go joyriding. Sometimes it was, they took it too far, and sometimes some of them just outgrew it. So, I'm not justifying it, and I'm not saying that's something that they should do, because when you have your anything stolen from you, it doesn't feel good. Especially when you have to work hard in this climate, in certain environments. You have to get up and go to work, and you're making, I don't know, $12, $15 an hour, $20 an hour, even $30 an hour, or $45 an hour, but you have a rent of 2,400 and your mortgage is $3,000 and you have taxes and insurance and everything. Um, to have something taken from you when you have to work so hard and pay the rest of your bills does not feel good. So I know that I'm rambling and it sounds like I'm rambling, but I'm just adding a little personal touch to it. I like to personalize it and just kind of draw you in and bring you, how would you feel as a person having something stolen from you? And the one thing I'm trying to get verification of is, was it his car that he was financing? Um, but for some reason I couldn't get verification of that, or was it just a rumor? So if anybody has any information on that, if they were able to verify it, please go ahead and drop that in the notes as well, so that we can tie all of this together, because um, you know when it does finally go to court and everything, it's going to be reminiscence of Rodney King and uh, Tamir Rice. I mean, just all the, anything to do with police violence. So anyway, not police violence, but when the police officers, while they're on duty and someone loses their life. So, anyways, my final thought is that in the wake of devastating loss and intense public scrutiny, it's easy to become overwhelmed by anger, grief, and blame. But perhaps the most powerful thing that we can do in moments like this is to remember the humanity at the center of it all. Lives were lost, families are broken, and a community searching for healing. If this case teaches us anything, it is that accountability and compassion are not opposing forces. They must walk hand in hand. Let this be a turning point, a call to better training, deeper understanding of mental health and trauma, and renewed efforts to bridge the divide between law enforcement and the people that they serve. May the lives of Ryan Hinton and Deputy Larry Henderson not be remembered solely for how they ended, but as catalysts for a more just, empathetic, and unified future. So there is my final thoughts on this topic. And to my loyal family, the Supernova Tosha Show podcast can be heard on these apps such as Spotify, Pandora, TuneIn, and iHeartRadio. And the goal is to be on the 10 best podcast list to listen to. So please share, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and spread the word. I am grateful for your time. I want to thank you for being attentive. I appreciate your presence. Be careful, be safe, walk good, and peace be still.